Hello.
Hey, Gunnar, how are you?
Hey, good. How are you?
Good. Waiting to see if they log in here soon.
Yeah, sorry, it might be choppy on my end. I'm about 5 minutes from home, and then I'll log onto my computer.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Jason and Jessica aren't even on yet, so.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, you
How's
probably got
your?
a couple minutes.
All right. How's stuff been for you on your end?
Good, good. I've had a busy day today, so that's good. Making calls and stuff. So how have you been doing?
Uh, I've been good. I think it was good for me to come to that boot camp just because one thing I've been struggling with is just the paperwork and making sure all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. I have some leads that because it's hard to I'm kind of trying to figure out the rhythm of things. Like, when somebody approaches you and tells you that they want a house, it's
Yeah.
sometimes I just got to slow down and remember that I am the professional on this and where do I start rather than, because if I'm overwhelmed with everything, getting through everything, I can only imagine how they're going to be when I pull up with 30 different sheets of papers and everything. So
Right.
just trying to get a better handle on all that. And just taking it day by day.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. That's how I was too. That's why those boot camps seem to help. And the more questions you can ask people and, get clarification on stuff, just reaching out, it helps.
Yeah, no, for sure. For sure. Looks like Thomas. Hey, Thomas. Are you doing this full time, Jennifer?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Okay. What'd you do before real estate?
Oh God, I was a competitive cheer coach, and then a stay-at-home mom. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So are you doing it full time, or I know you said you were in school, or?
So I just got done playing basketball with this last year, and then I graduated in May, so I'm still taking an online class, and then I picked up some shifts working at a middle school. I was just doing that kind of just to fill that time gap a little bit, but
yeah,
I'll definitely move in trying to do this full time by June when school ends here. So it should be school ends in June, and then this will be kind of the thing.
No, there you go. Yeah, so you got a good plan.
Where are you going?
Yeah.
Oh, I hear people.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
That's Jason's goatee and up his nose.
That looks great.
Yeah. Yeah. So we had see Eli here. He's got the popcorn and the old fashioned.
He's gonna pop some corn.
He's an old fashioned guy.
They're making them, so I couldn't pass it on.
John's favorite is old fashioned. So we had those. Today was his last day. So we had that popcorn and Reese's peanut butter cups.
That sounds really good.
It's not an enticing combo, honestly.
It's a weird combo.
It's not.
Is it? Combo. Well, I learned old fashions are super strong and that I really shouldn't drink those. So,
right.
So now that we know that, that's super good. But
how was your trip?
It was good. Here, turn it around.
I should go sit over there by Eli. I'll sit by Eli so that I can be.
Okay.
You want me to scoot over? No.
No. Yeah, it was good. We left Texas yesterday and it was 95 degrees there.
95.
95. I was
The
like,
thing about 95s, it's not really different than -20 in Minnesota in that you're in the car and then you're in the restaurant and then you're in the building.
Right.
It only is transient. And it was really nice to get out of a car and just go, wow, I feel warm.
this is hot.
I feel warm. I liked it. Jess was melting. I'm not melting. We're very different in that way, I think, which is okay. I mean, you got to be who you are. But she's soft and I'm not.
Shut up. Oh my God. He made me laugh so hard in the airport yesterday that I had tears streaming down my face. I think people were like, what is her problem?
Problem is you never had a yaw.
No, never had a job. So, okay, Okay, so let's go around the room and the Zoom. And Thomas, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay. And because we have someone new, a new PC agent with us right here, Eric. Hello. Okay. So we'll just go around and we will introduce ourselves, and let's see. We always do the tell me something fun about yourself.
Fun?
Yep, fun. I know, and every time I have to say something new. None of us know.
Am I able to go last? I'm just walking into the house right now. I'm gonna load up my computer.
Yes,
We'll let you go last.
you can go last.
All right,
Omar.
thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so I'll start. Jessica Nearing. I am from Burnsville. I live in Apple Valley. I've been an agent since 2013. And something fun about me, my favorite drink is a lemon drop. And I just figured that out this weekend. Oh, because Jason's suggestion. So I don't really drink, and so I always need something really fancy or something that
Fancy and sweet.
tastes nothing like alcohol. So they're like, just
Fancy
get some
and
pop.
sweet.
I'm like, well, that's not fun. So, okay, Eli, you're next.
All right, my name's Eli.
You lie. Oh, no, Eli.
I'm from Farmington and
How long have you been an agent?
been an agent since late October, early November. I don't really remember the exact, early October. And something fun about me.
Yeah.
Popcorn is top 3 favorite food for me.
Oh, wow.
Top favorite food.
Top 3. Yeah. Well, snack food, I guess, but
Okay, I'm with you. Jason Arvidsson, I've been a Realtor since late October. That's how I know you're early October. Late October. Also the Director of Technology. That's a very fancy word. It really means I have a large marketing budget. What's something fun about me? Why is that hard?
I know.
Well, because you're not any fun.
Well, there you go. It's pretty simple. There isn't anything fun about me. I think the challenge is thinking of something new all the time. I did in fact pay a gentleman $21
What?
$21 to play thrift shop on a piano at a piano bar this weekend. So we paid him $1 and he got on there and he's like, wow, when he saw the
No, he didn't
request.
say wow. He goes, oh, shit.
Yeah, okay. Oh shit is actually what he said. I liked wow, but oh shit is more appropriate for what he actually
and
said.
then he said it again.
And he,
Because he's like, what am I gonna do?
oh, what am I gonna do? And then it turns out he really did it amazingly well on a piano.
He did.
And he was into it and the crowd loved it. And it was definitely worth paying somebody an extra $20 for his efforts.
Right? Like he got people to stop and start recording him.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I
That wasn't
mean,
happening before that.
you know, what an interesting experience. And I think there's always that opportunity to just, know where you can inject yourself or help other people inject themselves into a situation and always elevate the area and the space you're around by being fun. And it's easy, especially as you get older, to close yourself off to fun things. But you should always be trying something new. And whether you're a piano player or you're asking for a ridiculous song, I mean,
Or
try something new
a lemon drop.
or a lemon drop. Just
Whatever.
keep trying new things and
Trying
your life
new-
will be richer. It will be richer.
Okay, my name is Andrea. I've been an agent since New Year's Eve, well, the day before New Year's Eve. Well, technically I didn't get my license till like end of January, but I live in Burnsville. I'm from the Twin Cities, and a fun or factoid about me. My favorite song is Callin' Baton Rouge by Garth Brooks.
You like that little red-haired girl?
Loretta?
That little red-haired girl?
Yeah.
Oh, well, good. I'm glad somebody has respect for her.
Okay, Eric, you're up.
All right. Eric Skillstead, I'm from Cannon Falls and now live in Prior Lake. And I've been an agent since 2 weeks ago. So I don't know a whole lot of anything yet, but passed the tests and ready to start learning. Something interesting is I've been in IT for 25 years, decided that I don't like doing IT anymore. So I am putting in my notice in June because that's when our bonus comes. So I'm kind of doing this part-time until,
Bonus and then you're out.
yep,
Done
I
with you
feel bad
people.
doing it, but
As soon as he gets that bonus, he's rocking some tags. That guy's out. He's done. Looking for a come up.
All right, Jenny, you're up.
My name is Jenny. I live in Waterville. I've been licensed since the end of January. Something fun about me is yesterday we had about 200 white American pelicans out. I could see off my back deck out on the lake there. So it's really cool. They were just like flying in all day wherever they were migrating back to. It was just like so many pelicans. So, you know, nature is always really cool. So, but I think that was fun. So,
Yeah, that's awesome.
Any cranes or just pelicans?
there's a handful of cranes, but it was just crazy pelicans yesterday. So,
Strange birds, them.
mhm.
They're huge.
Yeah.
Pelicans are like,
Gross.
one ran after me when I was in Australia. It was scary.
Gross.
It was like, holy crap, this thing's gonna eat me.
Was he going mine?
Mine
Mine?
the whole time. The whole time. I was like, no, it's mine.
Mine?
Thomas.
Mine?
How's it going, Eric? Welcome to the show.
thank you, sir.
My name's Thomas. I've been an agent for a couple months now, since the first week of February. I live in Fridley. A fun fact about me. Oh, where do I start? I'm a big LARPer. I'm into that live action role play. But
You are.
yeah, and then interesting fact, I'm Jessica's sister, so
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it appears that you 100% have the idea of LARPing down.
so yeah.
Oh my God. Thomas, you did good. All right. Going, all right, your turn. Oh my God.
My name is Gonar. I am from Mankato, Minnesota. I've been licensed for about a month and a few weeks. Something interesting about me is this will be the first year that I am not, this is probably the longest stretch of since I can remember that I am not playing basketball, like for a team. So just transitioning into, I guess, life after basketball.
Yeah,
That's a big
That's a-
deal, man.
it is a big deal. It's a big change.
Yeah.
And you work at is it middle school? Is that right?
Yep. So right now I work at a middle school during the day as a success coach. So basically they're mentoring kids from the everyday changes, like if students need to be removed from a classroom or there was a situation, I'm pretty much one of the first calls to come in and figure things out. This is actually my first, I guess this is my first job pretty much, like I guess legitimate job. So that's been pretty interesting too.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, junior high, you can't get more interesting than that every day.
Yeah.
All right, so I, again, forgot my notebook. I gotta go grab it. So
What?
I know, we were doing, we were talking about module 9. Am I right on that? Or was it 10?
No 9,
9.
no 9.
You guys, my video's on there. Remember the one I did in family reunion? It's
Where?
on there. It's on, it's really hard to find. I was like, wow, so they made this impossible to find. But I saw Molly and she was like, oh my God, did you see your video? I'm like, no, I didn't. But, so it's cool. I'm gonna go grab my notebook so that I know. what we're talking about. Jason, you can do some working.
So we go to Texas, and as we may have mentioned, it was hot, but we didn't go there to experience the temperature. I mean, it's sidelight, if you will, but my favorite thing coming back from Texas has been people's question, what did you learn, right? What did I learn in Texas at a group training for market center tech trainers? I didn't learn a single thing about technology. Not a single thing about technology. And I've been to a lot of events like this with other companies and things like this. But I'll tell you, there's three types of people who attend training. And if you go to most trainings of any company I've ever been in, they tell you the same thing. There are three types of people who attend a training. One of those sets of people is the prisoner, the person who is required to be at the training for whatever reason. The second group of people is the vacationer, the people who don't enjoy their regular job, but see this training as an opportunity to be away from it. And for them, it's quite the fun opportunity, but they're not very serious. And the third set of people is the people who came there to learn what is being taught. And it shouldn't surprise anybody to know that from an experience standpoint, I've played the role of all three. If we're talking about live action role play, I have played the role of all three. And I can tell you from a training perspective, it is much more fun to train the group that wants to be there. I can tell you from a being in the audience or as a learner perspective, it is much more fun and useful to be part of the group that wants to be there. Although my experience having now been to multiple trainings with Keller Williams is the best thing about something like that, whether it's like this or family reunion, is the fact that you have to pay to go pretty much eliminates the prisoners, which are the worst part of any training around, because they come in with the wrong attitude about why they're even there. And it is a great time to reflect on, why are you here? What do you intend to get out of this? And how can that translate into what you do? And for us as tech trainers, it was quite an interesting thing, because we didn't talk tech at all. I think the first day they said, we're very comfortable that as tech trainers, the tech. So wasting your time on learning more tech is probably not the best way to pursue this. And they brought out some of the best and most talented people that Keller Williams has to offer to talk with us about a variety of different topics. And our final session ended about 20 minutes after it was scheduled to end, because it was a Q&A with the chief technology officer of the company and the person right underneath him. And they had open questions for us. And we could ask anything we wanted, and people asked a variety of questions, but somebody posed a question to them and said, do you ever think about changing the name of Market Center Tech Trainers, because it's super limiting? We don't just train technology. We're some of the primary interactions for most agents in the office on a regular basis. And by calling us tech trainers, aren't you kind of limiting us? And I thought, well, that's an interesting question, and a philosophical one for sure, one I oddly never considered. And we left the training a little while after that, but within an hour, we were outside waiting for an Uber when we ran into the president. Is he the president? He's the president of productivity or something like that. I mean, he's basically the number 2 guy in the company.
That guy, that was that day.
Behind the CEO. Go ahead and show it again, because they didn't see it as well. He's basically behind the CEO. He's a number 2 guy in the company. And Olivia took the opportunity to introduce us to him because it was just us and him waiting outside. And he said, "Oh, you're a Market Center Tech Trainer. I heard you're changing your names." And I thought to myself, this is within an hour of this thing. And somehow this was on his radar already. I mean, one of the things I tell people about the leadership team here of this brokerage is I have never worked with a leadership team who is more interested and responsive to your feedback than this team. I mean, if you want to say something, there are people here who want to hear it and want to make it better. But to have somebody at his level in the company within an hour of a meeting with an offhand Q&A question and have that be a topic of discussion he was ready to turn around with and interact with at his level was incredible to me, that he was that ready. I mean, that's just not natural in most companies of this size or dollar weight when it comes to how things work. And it, on its face, I'm sure if you've never experienced that or worked for an enormous company, maybe you don't know that, or you haven't touched that. But I can tell you, having worked for some of the largest companies in the world, that's unheard of for there to be that kind of responsiveness to, the level of discussion that was being had. And so when I think about what I learned, that's what I learned. I mean, that's my takeaway, both from wow, the company I work for is really responsive, and the people who are in charge of me are role modeling the behavior they want me to exhibit. And that is be responsive, understand, listen with intent to make something better. And that's, I mean, I don't know that you can walk away with a better lesson, honestly. And if that's a lesson that you take and deal with each of your clients every day, there is no doubt in my mind that ultimately you will be ridiculously successful if you listen with intent and the idea to improve. And that you can't lose if that's your attitude. I don't care what you're doing.
Right.
That's my 2 cents.
Yeah. Well, I agree. And I didn't really get what you meant. Like when we got in the car and you're like, I can't believe that you just asked that. But now that you say that it was that soon after
I mean, it
you
was
found out, that's incredible.
bing, bing.
Right.
I mean, they had to dismiss that meeting, have all these people gather up, because I'm sure that's what happened. I mean, they must have all gathered up. And then what's your takeaways from this meeting?
Mhm.
And to have that be the one that escalated and percolated and connected, that's incredible to me. I mean, I'm sure there's all kinds of other feedback that he had, but that was,
Right.
he knew going forward, that was gonna be his talking point with people.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And the thing I like too is he said to, Olivia said to him, like she was kind of comparing what she had said to him in family reunion when she had seen him. And she said, I don't know if you remember that. And he's like, oh yeah, I remember. And I really value your input. Right. And I was like, oh my God. Right. Like, I mean, for all the people that he talks to, right. It's super important.
At the risk of sounding absurd, and I know I know that each of you haven't been to one of these events yet, but Jason Abrams is who I'm talking about. Mark King, they're incredibly accessible for their role. I mean, CEO of the company and director of industry, I think is technically Jason's title. And they are incredibly accessible. They are available all over the place. And especially at family reunion, there are so many agents there who are quite literally, and Jessica would fit in this category, starstruck with these people. I mean, they're just inundated with like people hanging around in this, hey, tell me about this, or man, I want a picture, and all this kind of stuff. It's like they're real, like legit celebrities from an attraction, and wanting to take pictures with them and wanting to be part of them. And yet to remember and be part of that and create feedback and make actionable items based on those experiences, man, I'm telling you what, if y'all want to crowd around me, have fun, but I promise you, I'm not going to remember anything. You know what I mean? I mean, there's just a limit to being human. And these guys, are taking that and they've learned that skill and they're adapting that skill. And they're not just sitting in front of you to say, you can be successful because I've been successful. They're saying, I've been successful. Let me tell you why and how you can be successful.
Yeah.
And how can I help you
Right.
be more successful? It's hard to watch Mark King sometimes because as a CEO, he's one of the few people I've ever seen at that level who actually has an emotion. And I've often thought that people who run companies have to be emotionally stunted to be successful. I mean, you can have that argument. I mean, are they all psychopaths, sociopaths? And I mean, it's kind of funny, but no. I mean, you watch them and you watch their actions and you come away with the fact that that's an actual possibility. And when Mark King speaks, you don't leave that room with any impression that he doesn't care. And in fact,
Yeah.
you think to yourself, no, this man genuinely cares. I don't understand how this man can care and be successful, because that's not the role model you're given in standard corporate America. And that's what makes our culture different and something that I can't stress enough how important it is. And after being there again, I want to thank each of y'all for coming, and you guys come on a regular basis. And I understand there are times that you can't. There is no substitute for person-to-person contact in this business, in any business, but in this business especially and in particular. And if COVID taught us anything, it is that we are not meant to be in our homes all alone all the time.
Mhm.
It's just not a thing. So as often as you can be here, I encourage you to be here. We are going to continue to do things and move that piece forward. And I know that with John leaving, it might be a little confusing or challenging. I mean, some of you know him as a team leader and some of you have only met him occasionally, but you know, we're going to have a different team leader before too long, and things might be different, but at the end, it is our culture that will not change. And those are the things that keep us together. And I encourage you to be part of that as often and as frequently as you can be, because it really is valuable.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about it a couple weeks ago when we had our award ceremony. And that, you know, I think sometimes people are like, well, I don't know, like, should I go to that? And you know, what Jason and I talked about afterwards is that everybody, like all of you guys should be there, because the thing is you get to see that culture in action. You get to meet more people. You get to see what you're aspiring to, right? Like you can see what people are, what awards are they getting, and have that be, well, that's what I want to do, right? Like that's where I want to be next year. So, you know, don't ever feel like, oh, like out of place or anything like that. So, I wanted you guys we're going to talk about the module 9 is called Broke to Broker, and really what it's about is your time block schedule. So I'm not going to go too much into what they have, because I think it's super important for you to be able to put together your schedule in relationship to what you're doing, right? So like Eric, you're working full time, and in June is when you want to kind of go into transition into real estate, right? So, but there's always something that you guys should be doing. And the thing is there's a phrase that they say all the time in KW and in Bold, our class, is that if it's not in your calendar, it doesn't exist, right? So the thing is you want to have it in your calendar, and then obviously if it's in there, you want to then do that, right? So if you guys can, either if you do like a paper calendar, if you can take it out, or if you can just open up to your like Google Calendar or whatever it is. The most important thing is going to be that you've got something that connects to, well, I mean, for us in PC, it's going to be Google Calendar, right? Because that's where Irene sends you stuff to accept. That's where the Market Center, if they have a class, that we're going to be doing. So, and I'm just going to get into the habit of doing this every time we get together to make sure that you guys have stuff on your calendar. So, if you open up, and the first thing I want to make sure you guys have on your calendar is the team meeting, what's going to be next week at 11. And then From 2 to 3 is growth coaching with Sarah, and that's going to be a Remind class. So Jason Oliver will be there as well. And, the funny thing is Irene will say, because she's asking for you guys, she'll say to Jason, well, is that going to be on Zoom? And well, I mean, it's Remind, right? It's going to be hard for you to be on Zoom, to be listening to what they're saying, and then to be implementing it, because when it's a workshop, it's being implemented, like you're actively doing stuff, right? So you should be there. Do you want to?
Sorry, when did you say that is?
Oh, sorry, it's the 20th from 2 to 3 p.m.
Okay. Thank you.
On top of that, and I just posted this about the team meeting, which starts at 11. Jana Riley will be doing a Q&A session, kind of like John Rohan did last month with us. And she sold over 800 homes in her career. I'll be honest with you, I've met a lot of people in my life, and it is rare that you can deter me from my intent in a conversation. Jana Riley is one of the people I call on a regular basis just to check in with her and see how she's doing. And I called to ask her how her birthday was. And she was sick on her birthday, such that she was able to go out, but just didn't feel like eating. And we're kind of having this quick conversation. She's talking about that. And I swear that the remainder of our conversation was whether I had a difficult Monday or not. It is almost impossible to deter me from a conversation in intent that I have when I sit down with you. And she is so thoughtful, so kind, and yet so experienced in understanding that she completely changed the conversation into something that it was different. I mean, and that I'm not used to that. It really, I mean, I've spent a lot of time with Jana, and I honestly think if you were going to spend some time, and I will actually post that on there, but there's something to be gained by catching it. And I really encourage you to be there in person, because there's something to be gained. And that's part of our team meeting on Wednesday. And then growth coaching will roll into that, which is later. There'll be a little bit of a break in between. But growth coaching with Sarah and Jason and myself, and the three of us will be walking around making sure that this is a workshop kind of experience. But I wanted to kind of talk to you, and I'm just going to tell you, because Irene and I went around by this, and I don't want to diminish the fact that I know that this is not easy. This is not easy, and I don't want to put anybody in a place that suggests that it is or what have you. But I want to be clear about Zoom and videos. And she asked me about supporting agents and whether not making things available on Zoom or doing workshops is the best way to do that. And here's my response to her. I said, thanks. I do believe in engaging agents where they are. However, we need to reclaim the value of being in the office. The overwhelming majority, I'm not even talking simple majority, the overwhelming majority of videos that we post on YouTube receive 0 or 1 view. Our training Zooms, and this group is accepted from that. Our training Zooms, however, generally receive 1 or 2 viewers when we're doing them live. Meanwhile, the benefits of being of the workshop experience, the benefits of the experience in meeting other agents, the benefits of the human interaction are lost to the agent community when you're not here. And almost more importantly than that, if you want to see that on Zoom and you can't make it, I promise you there's 75 videos on YouTube that are better produced than what I'm going to throw together on a Wednesday afternoon that are going to be able to walk you through it better with higher quality people. That's not what I leverage. And that's not what anybody in this office is level of expertise. And when you read MREA, there's 3 things you want to do, right? There's leads, leverage, and
Listings.
listings. Those are the 3. leverage what's important. And if there's somebody out there who's making great YouTube videos, watch them if that's what you need. Don't wait for next Wednesday to attend a
Right.
training on Zoom.
Right.
Get the resource now and use it today. And they're probably, depending on the number of views, going to be better at producing that product than me throwing it together on a Wednesday afternoon when I'm just taping a live event. If you want a workshop, I beat his experience 100 to 1 because you're here and we can do it together and you'll
Right.
leave with a finished thing. But the Zoom is, our culture changed over the last 2 years.
Mhm.
And it's hard for us to move out of that because we've gotten used to it. I mean, at first it was like, this is impossible. We'll never do this. And then somewhere in the middle, we became used to it and it became normal and it became natural, but the limitations of it still exist.
Right.
And the limitations of it are that I can't sit with you and help you in the same way that I can person to person, face to face, and ensure that you're getting the best benefit
Right.
for your time.
Right.
And when somebody can take an hour's worth of training, cut it down to 45 minutes, provide additional videos side by side, if that's what you're seeking, I promise you, I will help you find it. But my recording of myself is not the place to look for that.
Right. And the recording of that class is going to be,
Later than even that.
yeah, but it's not gonna, I mean, you can't ask any questions. You can't say, oh, wait a minute, what was that? Or how do I do that? Right. And so, and that's I think the biggest thing with the workshops is that you are going to walk out of there having something, right?
Yes.
You have a finished product, which is what, we did in this training this past 3 days is, they give you a workbook, you're taking notes, and then at the end, it's okay, what were your takeaways from day 1? List them out. What are your action items? Same thing with day 2, same thing with day 3. And then now we want you to talk about it. Now you need to take a picture and you need to send it to your coach, right? And all these things so that there's an accountability for it, but also what you need to do. You're not walking away being like, well, that was a great idea. Now what do I do? Right? Like, no, we're doing it, right? So that's what I wanted to do tonight is have you guys, either in a notebook or in your calendar is block off that time when you're going to be calling the people in your sphere to ask them to do a practice buyer consultation. And then we want to talk about what that conversation sounds like. And then we want to set a goal as to, how many people are you going to contact this week? And, like, if you're not ready to do that, then like, what's the plan to get ready to do that? Right. And it's people will say, some people are like, well, how many do I have to talk to? And I'm like, well, that's not the thing. The thing is how many appointments can you have in the week? Right. Like pick a time in the week. I can have 3 appointments, right? Okay, then have those open and then you're going to work to fill those up, right? Because if, when I was talking to Thomas about this earlier, if we don't give you the tools needed, what am I saying? How do I do this? And then practicing and doing it, what's the point, right? Like, what are we doing? And what are we spending time on? Oh, I went to the buyer boot camp. I went to the seller boot camp. Well, I don't even have a person to talk to about it. So was that worth it? Right? So we want things to make sense. And really, Jason and I have said that the best thing is going to be for you to get out there and talk to people. And you never know when you're going to get a conversation with somebody that's going to end up being like, yeah, well, I actually am looking to buy a house.
Do the thing,
Right?
whatever it is.
Right.
Just, yes, I do, or I know somebody who wants to do the thing. Well, as we're talking about our calendars, I do want to point out the most interesting calendar pickup I had, and I'm sure Jess shares this calendar pickup. Gary Keller looked at his calendar. He talked about his calendar and he said, the first thing I put on my calendar is a mark off all my days off. Then I mark off all the things I'm going to do for fun. And then everything else is when I work.
Yep.
Now, he's not saying he works all the other time, but he's saying quite literally If I need to take my kids to soccer at 3:30 on Friday, that's the first thing I put on my calendar.
Right.
If I'm going to an Eagles concert next Saturday, that's what I put on my calendar. If I need to go to the gym because I love to shoot hoops on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 2 to 5, that's what I put on my calendar. That's what I'm doing. That is me. However, he also made it clear that he understands that he's working too. You know what I mean? That when I'm not doing that, I don't get mad that I have to work on a time that's after work hours or something like that. I've blocked out my activities that are important to me and I do those. And then I also work and I work around that schedule. And I thought that was just, as a person who's always run my schedule the exact opposite way,
Yeah.
that all the important things in my life are the last things I put on my calendar. It was really refreshing to hear somebody, and he goes, I don't compromise on these. These are just non-negotiables. I don't compromise on these things. Can I do a showing at 7:30 on Wednesday? Sure. I'm not really I mean, it's a showing. It's not that big a deal. Can I do it when I've got something else scheduled? No, I cannot.
Right.
And that's just a great takeaway. And you have to be honest with yourself. I mean, if you're not leaving any time for work, that's a problem. If you're only scheduling, fun stuff all the time, that's a problem. And if you aren't responsive to understanding over the course of time that you're going to need to be available to do open houses, for example, on some weekends, that's a bad choice. But if you're not going to do open house on Easter weekend, I think that's probably a sound choice, right?
Right.
I mean, you got to balance those things out. But looking at your calendar objectively and making sure you make time for yourself first was a really interesting takeaway from somebody who is unimaginably wealthy in my mind. I will never have that level of wealth. And he got it doing it this way.
Right. Right. Yeah. So, I think that's an interesting point about the open houses. And I was mentioning this to Thomas earlier, is really what you want to do is, I know Irene will ask you, on Sunday night or Monday morning, when are you available for open houses? So what I'm gonna have you guys do tonight is look at the calendar and either mark it off on the calendar or make a list of when you're gonna be available, because for like the next 2 months, because that's what you're doing then. You've got the other stuff planned in there. I'm sure when you're going to be doing your fun stuff, right? And then get the open houses in there, because then you can be proactive about it and say, this is where I'm doing my lead gen this week. This week is going to be an open house. Now, if the open house ends up not happening, then that's a different story. But at least now we know when you're available, right? And you can give that calendar or that plan to Irene, and then she's got it laid out. Right. And we can be proactive about trying to get things organized. And, the same thing with what your lead gen is going to look like from a daily basis. Right. So I think let's take like, I don't know, 10 minutes and just go through your calendar. And what are we at? We're at April 14th. So, I mean, technically, you could probably plan out until the end of June, don't you think? That's not.
I would say the end of April 23rd, you can easily plan out right now.
Okay, end of April 23rd. So that is
That's a week and a half.
a week and a half. All right. So why don't you get out a pen, get out paper, or get your computer out and go on Google.
Legitimately
called.
look at your calendar.
Yeah.
Just look at it and say, what are the things? Right? And put those important things in there. When am I going to set aside time to do work? When am I going to set aside time to exercise? When am I going to set aside time to read MREA? When am I going to set aside time to hang out with my girlfriend, wife, kids, family? What are those things going to look like? And take the time. And if you're not, you should be doing this once a week, honestly.
Right.
Gary talks about it on Sundays.
Mhm.
I'm a similar guy. On Sunday morning, I plan out my calendar for the week. Sure, the big things get in there maybe a little earlier or planned out. But if you don't know what you're doing next Saturday, you might want to think about, how do I figure that out right now?
Right.
And some of you are going to be way better at this than others. but it just takes time to learn it. That's all. You're not as good at writing with your left hand as you are with your right hand, or vice versa, depending on who you are, but you can get better every day. You have a calendar, don't you? I knew that before.
Not, I don't technically.
You get the
It
big
varies.
rocks. You got a big rock calendar, right? And that's okay. Hey, that's where we start. I have a big rock calendar. What does today look like?
Ameriprise.
I don't know, Ameriprise. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I owe them some money. The chiropractor, stand-up, the
The
toddy,
stand-up.
the appointment with Eric, enablement. Man, that was fun. Learning about opportunity pipeline.
Oh,
Oh, I'm telling you, I'm gonna be an opportunity pipeline assassin in the next couple of weeks. I can't think of a better tool, Jess. The opportunity pipeline.
the opportunity to have on. I'm working on my calendar. I can't do two things at once. Look, one thing. Whenever we take tests and then somebody will start talking, I'm like, shut up, I'm taking a test.
It's a good plan. You're doing it right.
So, is it Wealth Builders is always, that's is that the 20th?
No, that's first Wednesday. of the month.
Wealth Building is the first.
Wednesday is the first. Wealth building Wednesday is first Wednesday. And then every Wednesday is growth coaching. Connectors is second and fourth.
Fourth, and the third is nothing because of ALC. It's harder on my phone than on my computer.
So what like appointment slots do you have?
So I have, usually what I do is I start out with, like you said, like do your vacation, your time off, your fun stuff, whatever. And then I'll go through this and I time block whatever's in here that I want to go to. And what I found is like connectors and, this one, Agent Mastermind, and then wealth building. I wouldn't have them in my calendar. And then one-on-ones would start getting planned or booked, and then I couldn't go to those. And I'm like, God. So just remembering to, take those out first. And then what I do is I have, I do mine more like a day. So Monday is my day for meetings. Tuesday is my day for my real estate. And then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is PC. So, and before, like when I did my own business, I would do, when I just did True North Homes, I would say, okay, Monday, this is the day for lead gen. I'm going to work on social media. And then Tuesday is going to be this, because I did better getting into it and then just doing all of that in one day. So, and I never would make so Monday is meetings. I never have a meeting until 11 o'clock. So I make sure that from 8 to 11, I have it blocked off so that I can do lead gen then. So if somebody says, can we meet, at 9, I'm like, no, I can't, I'm busy. And I won't ever open that up and let something else go in there. And I know it sounds weird, but I always put in a lunch break, because otherwise then I don't have half an hour off and then I can't eat, right? And then, I'll put in the things where it's same as you guys, where I say where I need to be. So for you, then you put in there, well, I need to be at coaching on Thursday. And then that's just in my head, that's just what I do. So, if somebody was to say, could I have an appointment at 5 o'clock on Thursday, I'd say no, right? Like if it was with the agent, because I'd be like, I have coaching then and I can't do that. And there's multiple other times I can come in to meet, right? It's just about building that schedule. And then you say, well, I've got this and this open. And they're like, oh yeah, okay. And then let's see. So the other thing that I'll do is I'll do a big time block and say, Tuesday, I take off from 2 to 4 and it just says my real estate business. So then that's when I will go do showings and do things like that. So, but I think if you did, 9 to either 8 to 11 or 9 to 11 every day for lead generation. And then you define what that is, right? Using that 411 where you say this is what I'm doing. I'm doing what kind of lead generation, and you can split it up to be days, right? This day it's going to be social media. This day I'm working on open house stuff, right? And your lead gen can be going out and door knocking for that open house and telling them to come, right?
Yeah.
And then I'll do, in the afternoons, I'll do like leave a chunk of time for showings. Always have that available. And then, you know, obviously when you get to know your client, you'll be like, well, that's double, right? But then also when you have block up your weekends, you're not, I mean, because you know, like you can get a client who's like, oh my God, I want to see this. And then the next day, I want to see that. It's like, oh my God, I'm like, I don't have any time off, right? So when you have it blocked off, you could say to them, oh, so like if I looked here, I'd be like, okay, so I'm available 11 to 12. And then I go, oh, 1 to 2, that's not enough. Okay. And then 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock, I'm available, right? And I'll put like going to the gym in there, I'll put in K-score. So there's really no time open on here unless I'm like, I literally don't have anything going on.
Mhm.
So, and that's what you want it to be like that, because when you just say lead generation
Yeah.
from 8 to 11 is too vague,
Yeah.
right? So it's like, what kind of lead gen are you gonna do? And then put that in there and get super specific about it. And, I mean, the other thing you can do is put in like in here, the ALC members, they're available from 10 to 11. You know, I had suggested to block off that time, 10 to 11, either call them or be in here and talk to them. Like you should be able to know every single person on here and interview them and get to know them. And you'll, like you learned when you talked to John Hoffmeister, like you learn a lot of stuff from people, right?
Yeah,
When
yeah.
you take the time to talk to them. And they can, once you build that relationship, then it can be, well, hey, you know, like, I mean, Kelly, you've built that relationship with Kelly and, with other agents, they're like, hey, I actually need an agent to show something, or I need an agent to do this. And then they know that they can come to us in PC, and they'll come to you more consistently if you're the one who has raised your hand, that you're willing to do that, right?
Mhm.
So, all right, so tell me guys, what did you plan out? What do you have going on the next, what did you say, till the 23rd?
For me, it's mainly like I know my school schedule, so like we have a few days off. Like we have tomorrow, there's no school for the district, and I also planned out just because I personally like coming to the team meetings and just kind of being around all the other agents that have been up there for so long. So like that's the time that I'll always, that's every time. So that's the first and third week every
Yep.
month. Like I usually put that in. That's probably in for the rest of the year on my calendar. And then in terms of lead gen, I put that in right after I got out of school. Because I usually try to get into the gym in the morning before I go in, and then just it gives me a few more hours. And I feel like too, because I had tried to do lead gen, like since I started and working, obviously meeting with you, Jessica, I tried to do lead gen. I tried to go to the gym after school, and then it was just tough though because I felt like after getting out of school, then going to the gym and eating and everything, it was kind of late to be calling people. But I felt like it was, if I could get out of school around 3:34, that was kind of a good time where there's a lot of people starting to get home and getting off, especially in my sphere.
Right.
I was able to just get in contact with a lot more people then. So
So
for the
what time
most part,
it is usually?
you said what?
What time is that usually when you do that time that you find that they're home?
So that lead gen will usually be about, I'll probably get home right at 4:30.
Okay.
Then I'll start getting stuff in between like 4:30 to 6:30. That's kind of right now, that's been what's been working just for my sphere.
Yeah.
It's sometimes it's just, yeah. At first I think what was tough though, one thing that I've already adjusted kind of is that I had a goal of like I wanted to. At first, it was I wanted to make sure that I was doing like a certain amount of time with each person, but I felt as it got on, it's like connecting with some people, like some of my closer friends, it's a quick 5-minute phone call, like, hey, how's the week been? Yeah, it's
Yeah.
been smooth, nothing. And then other people like like some of my, I guess my older friends or like older family members, it'll be a more in-depth conversation. So that's something that I adjusted a bit, but usually about that 4:30 to 6:37 most days is what I'm doing.
Yeah. And what would you say are your like big two sources of lead gen?
My big two sources of lead gen, in terms of like how am I contacting them or just and
Yeah,
what am
like-
I doing in hours?
Yeah, so when I do a GPS with agents, a lot of times we talk about it's their sphere of influence and like when they're starting out and open houses. And then they'll try other ones as well. And you know, my thing that I've told people all for a long time and got it from Jason Herkamp is pick the 2 lead gen sources that you don't hate and do them for 6 months, right? So what would those 2 things be that you don't hate that you're willing to do for 6 months?
Yeah. So right now I would say usually 1 hour is spent. So like I know of a few like real estate investors, I guess, that I've just built relationships over the year. Like they've been connected to my school, and then I know some younger friends that are trying to get into it. So like, for example, it'll usually be about an hour-ish of I'll be just analyzing different deals, and then I'll just hop on the phone with them, and I'll be able to it'll be a pretty quick conversation with some of them, and some of them it'll be like, hey, this is what the return on this would look like. So like in terms of that is like, and I don't mind, like I like looking at numbers and stuff like that. So that's been something that's been, I'll probably do that for about an hour. And then the other hour will be, it'll be right now, it's mostly trying to figure out and work command. So like one thing that I talked to last week, I think when I went up there, I kind of learned how to do the neighborhood nurture and my announcement letter. So making sure right now, and obviously that won't be, I feel like that won't be sustainable. Like that won't be something that I'll be doing for the next 6 months. But right now, it's been big in terms of just people that are interested or people that just want to know about the market. I've been setting them up with those searches. So right now, those have been the 2 main things. I'd say kind of working with those investors and just, because some of them it's a lot, in terms of the investors, so some of it's a lot easier because it's like some of them say that they only want a certain return, otherwise don't even bother. And some of them are just send me every single multifamily deal you see, like send me everything. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
investors are interesting, aren't they? Because they don't want to lock in with only using you, but they want you to give them the moon and send them everything.
but then
Right?
yeah, no, they're interesting because then I have another friend that's been a realtor for about 2 years now, and he says that he absolutely hates working with investors just because they're constantly trying to get a bargain on every single deal.
Right.
So I can see how it goes both ways. But,
Yeah.
I like working out the math and the numbers. But I can see how it could be a very bothersome thing for somebody.
Right. Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, Gunnar.
Yeah.
Jenny.
Hi.
What did you find out for the next week or so?
Next week, well, tomorrow I have a final walkthrough and then a final walkthrough at 8, and then I have a closing at 10. So with that listing that I'm splitting with Amanda Mendoza, so that's exciting.
That was very exciting.
Yeah, and then with my golden letters I sent out, I got a pretty good response. So Monday I had met with a guy and I'm still trying to set up, I have to do a follow-up tomorrow with another couple with the property over on Irish Lane off of Lake Jefferson.
Yep.
Wanted to do a one-time showing with some buyers. So that's kind of where I'm at tomorrow. And I need to finish mailing out. I ordered a bunch of Twins baseball schedules.
Yeah.
Yeah, so getting those mailed out to like basically all of my sphere and then all the people I've been adding in and had contact with. So I mailed out like, it was like 60 today and I've got 200 total. I'm gonna save like 100 for door knocking, which I'm gonna start next week. Let me see, let me go to next week. So yeah, I don't have anything on Monday because my family's doing some stuff. But I've got Tuesday lead gen and follow-up 8 to 10. And then work on, I want to do a different mailer the end of April, some sort of postcard.
Okay.
That seems to be working for me. And I feel like following up with stuff where I've sent people things. I don't know, that seems to really work for me.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
and then I wanted, hopefully that afternoon, 3 to like 5:30, when people are getting home from work, I want to door knock my neighborhood and finish passing out just those Twins calendars to like my neighbors and introducing myself that way. So, and then I have spar Wednesday, Thursday. And then Friday is lead gen, work on some social media stuff. And I need to start putting together the smart plans and getting people in with those that I've got all in command. I think I've got like 90 people in command now. So I want to start getting smart plans put together and working on that.
Awesome. Well, and that's a good point that sometimes you don't have 100% control of your schedule and you have spar for 2 entire days, right? Like from 9 to 5 or something.
Yeah, it's something crazy.
Yeah. So, and not that that happens that much, but it does happen, right? And, or you have your CE that you put off doing and suddenly you're like, holy crap, I need to do 8 hours of CE today or whatever it is. So, and that's the thing that is nice when you plan stuff out is that you know what's going on and there's not going to be so many surprises that are going to come up and be like, oh, well, now I can't do any lead gen today because I have whatever.
Oh, and then I also we roofed our house this summer and we hired a helper to help us do that. And just when I was up there tearing off shingles with them, I was talking to him and they're looking at wanting to like purchase a home and him and his family. So I've got them set up. I talked to with, oh God, who's New American Funding right there. I talked to, what's his name?
Brian.
I forget. Yeah, I talked to Brian today and then forwarded their information so they can start working on getting them qualified for a loan. So
Nice.
yeah.
Awesome. Thomas. Are you there?
I'm here.
Okay.
So I kind of, I guess have been slacking on open houses. I haven't done one in like 3 weeks.
Okay.
But I kind of want to schedule more of those and kind of have my Saturdays open for open houses. And then I changed my lead gen. I usually try to have 2 hours of lead gen every day by like the early afternoon, have it done. I don't really square out 2 same hours every day, but I figured if I did it on my calendar from like 8 to 10, have that the first thing I do, get it out of the way. And I guess, yeah, be the first thing on my calendar every day. It's kind of what I changed. So.
Yeah, that's eat the, what is that? Eat the frog? Have you heard that? No, you always look at me funny when I say that. There's a saying that's eat the frog quickly. Yeah, something like that, like right away, right in the morning, because the longer you look at the frog, the more you're gonna be like, God, I am not eating that frog, right? And same with lead gen. You're like, well, I'll do it a little bit later and just get it done, right?
Yeah, procrastinating.
Yep. Sounds like a good plan. Okay, Eli, how about you?
So me, mainly lead gen is just attacking my sphere. That's where
Okay.
I've got my 2 listings from.
Yep.
So far. And then the other one was open houses. Did 2 last weekend. What I'm realizing is I need to nail down the scripts on those.
Okay.
one, and then two, I'd like to go door knocking before, which I haven't done. I mean, I have on one, but
Can I
No,
interrupt
came
you
up.
and say something? So I
Yeah.
was in Farmington on Saturday and I'm just, driving by and I see this wonderful sign. I
Oh,
made
you
sure
saw.
I took a picture here. And I actually wanted to know where you got your signs on because I really like it and it looked like pretty cost effective. So there. So yeah, I saw about 7 of them on all different like
Nice.
corners and
Yeah.
stuff. I'm like, I should stop in there and get a cookie, but.
yeah, you should have.
Oh,
But,
he wanted to see that picture.
Oh,
That's
I'm
another
so
thing. I
sorry.
wanna have 12 signs and I put them all
Wow.
out and I was
Yeah.
like, I could put out more even, which is crazy,
gosh.
but
I need to go on there.
Yeah,
yeah.
10 is like a good number to strive towards,
Yeah.
because that's what'll
Was
happen.
there those signs for the open,
Say that again?
sorry. Were those signs for the open house?
Okay, so there is, you see it?
I made it on Canva and then printed it off on a signed website.
Jeez, oh, I like those, I like those.
Yeah, don't forget the giant arrow at the top. When I had mine done, he's like, you don't have an arrow. And I'm like, oh my God. So we made it quick, but I was like, wow, that was, hello.
You
Which,
said, how many did you, about how many did you put up?
12 total.
Okay,
I only have
And
12
did you-
signs, so I put them all up.
You get good traction.
okay, and were those just down, you just put them on different streets, kind of pointing to where it was?
Yeah, exactly. So where it was is there were 3 roundabouts. So I
Yep.
put 2 on 3 roundabouts. So 6 total, and then it was kind of deep in the neighborhood, so then put them just. arrows.
Did you, so when you were putting them out though, did you, like what time, not to ask too many questions, but what time did you put them out around? And was there any, like, were you able to put them kind of wherever you wanted, or did you have any problems in terms of like people telling you to not,
Yeah, no problems. My open house was at 11 and I put them out at started putting them out at like 9:30, got done at like 10. When,
And then when do you take them out?
right after my open house was done, is when I took
Okay.
them out. I don't know, do you guys have any other plans or any?
No,
Other
that's what I
advice?
do. I know some people, I think like Ryan puts these out the day before or something.
yeah, there's some cities where you can put them out beforehand. I did a lot of open houses in Northfield and they will take them down. And then you have to go find them. So I wouldn't suggest that. But if you have, like, if you are doing your open later in the day, then for sure, I would go put them up as early as you are comfortable. And then you have the entire day that people are looking at them. And then you can get just a simple sign that says open house. And like it points the arrow, and then you can either do magnets or you can stickers. And you say Saturday 2 to 4, right? So then if they're driving around looking for the open house, then they go, oh, they go 2 to 4. Okay, well, so I'll just come back at 2, right? Because if they see it at 9 and then they get pissed and they're like, well, it's not even open, right? So it's just one more, it's more advertising time for you, for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and I have like an open house sign with the magnets that I just stick on my listing sign.
Yep, right.
Where did you say you went about getting the signs?
So I made them on Canva and then ordered them on the cheapest website I could find. I don't remember the exact one, but
Okay. Oh, they look good. They look good.
yeah, thank you.
If I was in the market, I would have. If I was in the market, I would have bought the open house. I would have bought the house.
Yeah.
All right, anything else you want to share? You
No,
said
that's
sphere
all.
open houses, nail down scripts, do door knocking.
Yep, and I'm definitely improving on my scripts. And I do want to door knock to try and get more listings prior to open houses to
Okay.
see if they will walk in. And then that QR code I use too for sign in.
Oh, yeah. Andrea,
My bad. Could I ask one more question?
you can.
So I have not done an open house yet, but what do you feel like is something that you could have like what's some advice you would give me on doing my first open house, or what's something that you would have liked to do better to just make it a little more, just to make it attractive? Like what's something that you feel like you could have improved on, or just something that you did well, either or.
For me, I would say, one, having a lot of signs helps, and two, preparation to the open house. When I first did my few open houses, I just went to the open house with nothing really in mind.
Yeah.
But now that I have scripts and kind of an idea of where I want to go when people do walk in, definitely helps. And one question I do ask towards the end is, if you don't mind me asking, what agent are you working with in the area? Is a question I like to ask, and then they'll tell you if they're working with an agent. And then if they're not, they'd say, oh, or I say, agent you're working with in the area, or agent that you've worked with in the past. And if they say work with an agent in the past, then I'll say something like, oh, would you like to sit down and I can go over the buying and selling process? Or what I say is, have you ever had anyone sit down and gone over the buying and selling process with you? Then that kind of opens the door for an appointment, or like a potential appointment.
Yeah, that's a good question.
But
Yeah,
I still stumble over my words even at the open house. I'm still nailing down those scripts.
do you feel like they had, was there any like consistent questions though? Like when you say have more, do you feel like more information just about, do you feel like there was consistent questions that were coming up that you didn't have, or was it just like more information or more you could give to the buyer coming in?
I would say know all the logistics of the house before doing an open house for sure.
Yeah.
You don't want to
Okay.
be the person who, when they're like, oh, how old is the roof? And you don't know.
Yeah.
Or
Okay.
like that.
Yeah.
And then you gotta be like, oh, I gotta look it up. And then you just look like an idiot.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Gunnar, if you want, both Ryan and Tenley do open houses that you can shadow. And then we could also touch base with agents down by you to see if they will have, the reason that I like to have Tenley and Ryan do it is I know what they're gonna tell you. I
Yeah.
don't know what other people are gonna tell you, so
Yeah.
I'm protective of you guys, so, but, so then what we do is like you do one, right, and see how they do it. And then the goal is to have you shadow both of them. And then after that, then you'll be comfortable to hold your own and you'll know what to do because you've shadowed through that. And if it gets super busy, I know both of them has said, go talk to people, right? Like go ask questions or, see what questions people have for you. And then you always have them to
Yeah.
go kind of rely and lean on if you don't have the answer, right? So,
Yeah.
I made a note of that we can set you up to do that. And it'll probably be a drive, like Jenny, you had one where you drove and it was the wrong day, right?
Right. Yeah. But I made it there. I knew I was headed the next day, so that worked.
Right. Because I was like, holy crap, is she there today? And Ryan's like, it's tomorrow. I'm like, but you're right. You were there. You knew exactly where to go. It's all good.
Right, exactly.
Any
Okay.
other questions, Gunnar?
Just the end of that. So Eli, you said one of the questions was, have you ever went through a buyer seller, like what do you, my bad, I missed the end of that.
Yeah, something along the lines of like, has anyone gone over the buying and selling process with you? Or has anyone sat
Okay.
down with you and gone over the buying and selling process? Which I don't know, what do you think, Jason? That
Has anybody said yes?
well, I just implemented it this past weekend.
It's
So no,
hot off
Yes,
the press.
Yeah,
not yet, correct.
we'll get there. I think it works. I think, as long as you are presenting the option with them and giving them the chance to do that, they'll figure out what they need to do. And, at the end of the day, The other thing, would it offend you if I followed up, next
Right,
week?
right.
Okay, yeah.
And they're like, what? Offend me? No.
No, it wouldn't
Okay.
offend me.
Great.
I don't want it.
Yeah.
It won't offend me. Well, cool.
I don't
then
want
we're
to
in.
hear from you, but I'm super not offended.
It's an
My
interesting
bad.
question, but it really blunts, honestly, it really blunts people's ability to say no. Because you're not really trying, I mean, that's what you're saying. Will it offend you? Well, of course I would, no.
Right.
Cool.
It would not. Right. What was I just gonna say about that? That question, oh my God, I'm losing it.
Well, the other thing I want to say is, I got caught talking to Victoria for a bit, but I do want to, Gonar, I want to thank you, because if you're going to be on Zoom, asking questions, being present, being part of the discussion is the best way to do it. I mean, if you're going to be there, be engaged. And I really
Yeah.
appreciate, a series of questions. Don't be afraid to ask. That's what the point of this is.
Right,
Don't be a passive consumer of this thing. This is a workshop for you to gain and win. And you guys all generally do a great job of doing that, but I did kind of say some, maybe make it my thoughts about Zoom a little apparent, but it is a tool and it's useful. And if we're engaged and we're active in it, it can still serve a purpose, because it's going to bridge gaps and we can't be here. But if we're going to bridge some gaps, that's how we do it, Gonar, is by asking questions and learning.
absolutely. Well, thank you.
All right, sorry, not to jump off that, but I do have one more question, Eli, just one more.
Fire, man.
You can't say sorry for asking questions.
So so when people were coming in and this might just be a standard thing, obviously I won't know this if I've never held an open house, but so did you just have everybody check in or like give you their to get their email and all that information to put into command? Like you just had them check in the front, correct?
Yeah, and a lot of times people don't actually, so what I'll say is, would you please send in on this QR code? Also, the property information is there as well.
Yeah.
And I don't know, a lot of times people will do the QR code and not actually sign in, because I mean, there's no,
It doesn't
Yeah.
force them to do it.
it doesn't force them.
So
So if
Jason, then would there be any way to like, let's say they didn't, for whatever reason, a couple or people come in, they don't want to sign into the they don't want to sign in for whatever reason, just because they're just here to look at. Is there a way that I could be like, hey, I'll send you this link. All you have to do is sign up for it, and exact like information about this house will come up in the app, but you need to sign in and create a username and give your address to the app. Like if you you know what I'm saying? Like if to sign it, to do
you
commit,
could do that, Gonar, what I recommend is
like I'll
create
send you.
a landing page and directing
Okay.
them to the landing page, but you can't force them to sign in. I think a strongly worded set of things like, hey, welcome to the open house. My name is Eli. The owners or the sellers, depending on your perspective, have requested that everybody present sign in. Just as the owners of the property, before you come in, if you want to sign in here, use this QR code to sign in, put in your information. That'll also get you all of the information, the listing information about the house. But
Okay.
you don't want to lose before you win. And if
Yeah.
they're not going to play the game and they're not going to sign in, they're not going to be great clients of yours anyway. At the risk of sounding crazy.
Yeah.
It's unlikely that you're going to capture somebody that if you don't lay it out. So I think the trick of laying it out is, hey, the owners have asked everybody who visits today sign in. For the average human being, they're going to go, I respect that, because if this was my house, I'd understand.
Yeah.
You're never going to get 100%. You're not. And anybody you get in the fringe is going to be harder to capture anyway. So, even if you force them and said, you're not going any further until you sign in, and then you call them a week from now, you think that's going to be a great conversation? I don't think that's going to be a win either way. So
Yeah. Okay.
And
I think Andrea has an ad.
well, at the last open house I presented them the option. I go, please scan the QR code, or scan or sign in here with the sign-in sheet. And I didn't miss anyone. They all signed in. I just said, I won't bug you guys too much. All I ask is if you could please sign in. And they're all like, yeah, there's a couple where maybe they don't fill out all the info, like they don't include their address or something. And even one, I noticed like the address was missing. And at the end, I'm like, okay, I'm like, so I have your contact information here. And then I pointed out, I'm like, oh, looks like, you missed your address. I'm like, oh, okay. And then they added it too. So usually,
Okay.
I haven't encountered any problems, so I think you'll be all right.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I was just curious, but it for the most part, if they're coming to the open house, it sounds like they would just be. I'm sure most people coming to the open house would be open to that. Like they're obviously there for a reason, so they would like to, or there to get something done. Like nobody's coming there to waste anybody's time. I hope not. But yeah, okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
No, thank you, man.
And I
Thank
can
you.
send you my sign-in sheet and my kind of the QR code sheet as well, just so you have an idea of kind of, what mine looks like, but. You can always-
Yeah, if you could, that'd be great. I will send my email or something here in the text or through Jessica maybe, or
In your,
The drive. it's
in the
access
drive,
to
you should be in there. They have the agent listing. No,
thank you.
he has the agent listing, so.
Oh, well
that's fine.
then yes.
Well, they may not not have retroactively been including it, but
In,
in his folder, he
Irene's?
is in his folder, he has the agent list.
Oh, right.
And if it's linked correctly, then it will always be the most recent. In your.
We let Irene run that department. I don't wanna take any credit for anything like that.
And you can have a folder that has your name, like.
I saw it one time before, I don't remember where it was. Agent directory.
Yeah, there you go.
What's your last name, Gunnar?
Mar.
Okay.
They are.
Mar, M-A-R.
Perfect, all right.
Yeah, and guys, if there's ever anything,
Gals,
gals, people.
guys and gals.
Guys
There's
and
both.
gals, people, humans, if there's ever anything else that you find that you think would be helpful for others, feel free, you can always email it to me and Irene can add it to everybody's folder, Google folder. That's usually what I do if I get something that I want you guys
Do you
to
have
have.
an open house scheduled going on this weekend or something?
I don't, but I certainly got to get one soon.
If you're here before the next time you do an open house, you and I will create a landing page, QR code, we'll get a sign printed out and you'll have that. And I promise you in 7 minutes or less for any listing,
Whoa, 7 minutes
7 minutes or
or
less.
less. I don't
7
know.
minutes. Let me make a note. 7 minutes or less.
Yeah, let's document that. We all heard it. So,
Did you want to hear
seven,
it?
I think it took like 9 minutes.
I've gotten better. I've gotten better since then. She was one of my first victims.
Definitely
Okay.
mine. All right, Andrea, how about you? What did you find for your schedule that is gonna work for you?
Well, it's kind of nutty. So every morning and do the same thing, usually around like 5:30, 5:45, wake up, and until 9, I like my morning routine, workouts, get kind of breakfast ready, have a smoothie, stuff like that. And then depending on like the weather, obviously when it's nicer, I usually walk my dogs either at 9 a.m. or at like 1:30 unless I'm babysitting at that time. Every Monday and Tuesday I babysit only for 5 hours during the day. But then I let him watch TV for an hour. So I do an hour of lead gen while he's watching TV. So that way I still get a little more lead gen done. But usually every day I do my lead gen from 10 to 11:30, except for Mondays. Well, even when Mondays, it varies when I babysit that time. My main source of lead gen I found is my Spear. I'm still trying to get my first listing or my first buyer, but hopefully, I'm getting there and I'm getting the word out. you mentioned the twins calendars there, and I actually did the same thing, and I actually brought a template too, because I'm gonna print some stuff that I'm gonna send out with it. So I have all that stuff, and I'm gonna mail them out tomorrow morning. So just working on that, different kinds of like marketing stuff for that. I've had well, except a couple weekends, availability for open houses. I haven't gotten too many, only I think I posted a couple, but that's ideally that I like to be that more of a source of lead generation. So what I'm not doing well, so I'm gonna tell Irene to, like, every Saturday, unless I tell her, I'll be available from 10 to 12, and then afterwards I'll go to babysit for the remainder of the Saturday. And then usually every other Thursday I nanny, and then on Fridays too, unless there's some weekends where he doesn't need me. But yeah, mostly just lead gen then, and then lead gen in the afternoon, because until I get a listing and something, my main priority is lead generation. So
Are you available for showings?
yes. And then, at night, at any time after like 5:30, I have basically free. I just have it as like my nighttime, like my review and PM routine, which is basically kind of just review the day and just kind of unwind and do my, housekeeping duties, whatever. clean up.
You have housekeeping duties?
Well, it's,
Jason, you're such a crap.
yeah.
Well, I'm excited. I have a lot of housekeeping duties. I do mine really in the morning.
You have all the housekeeping duties.
Yes. Excellent.
Yes.
Yes.
We know that. I know that. The other thing I was gonna say is, like when Jason said about showings, is that's one other thing that Irene watches a lot. So if she sees on Facebook that somebody needs something, she will text you. And just as a reminder, like, be on your text, like if you're able to, like, I don't know, set the dinger or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, so you hear it coming in,
Set your dingers.
right? Well, I'm just saying, she has said to me multiple times, people are not getting back to me. And I'm not saying any of you, I'm not saying singling anyone out. I'm just saying that,
Back in 68, when people rode on dinosaurs to work,
right. They,
people didn't get back.
because they rode a dinosaur to work. They were lost.
And now you guys have more fancy modern gadgets and can be better.
Right. So, and it's always gonna help you in your business, right? Like if she wants to fill an open house, she doesn't hear from anybody, then we end up just telling the agent we can't fill it. And the same thing with showing. So, like I was saying, so somebody will post and they'll be like, I need this, I need that, somebody to show a house for me at 5, or I need whatever. And so then she, on her own, reaches out to you guys and it's like, hey, are you available for that? So you don't even have to watch Facebook, like she's watching it for you.
The other
So,
thing I would suggest to you is, and without, that I have found a number of dead horses in my life and I like to beat them. One of those is that if you're in the office, it's really an opportunity to provide an opportunity to meet and get to know agents. Because agents sometimes are reluctant or shy about giving their showings to people they haven't worked with or don't know that well, unless it's a real emergency. And if you have an established relationship with an agent where maybe you've done it once or twice before, they'll call you before they call anybody. And if those are things that you're open and willing to do to help yourself and make money or business, I mean, they'll always prefer to go with somebody they have an established relationship with, because this is a relationship business.
right.
And if they know what to expect, they'd rather go with somebody they know what they're gonna get than somebody they don't. So having that door open is very valuable. And I know, for example, Kelly has some agents that she knows, and if she needs a showing, then she calls those people first every time.
Yeah.
And that can be valuable for those agents, whether they're long established agents or newer agents. That's an example of how I know that works, and I know other teams and agents do the same.
And that goes hand in hand with open houses too, because I've had multiple people go back, PC agents hear back from that agent they did an open for and say, hey, I got another one. Do you want to do one this weekend? Right? So it's always good to build those relationships too, because I mean, I always think like they could even get some business that they don't
Right.
want to do and they could give it to you.
Mhm.
Right? Or they're like, you know what, I'm starting to really work with sellers. You know, I don't really want to work with buyers anymore. And then I'm like, what? My ears go up and I'm like, oh my God, just tell me and I'll get them all to the PC agents, right? Because the thing is you guys need the experience, you want the experience, you need the money, you want the money, right? Like all the things and
All it takes is the relationship.
right.
And you have, unfortunately, you have to build that. It doesn't just appear.
Right. Absolutely.
And
Okay.
Lennar is only paying 2%. Yay. Good job.
Linares?
Yeah.
Well, that's nice of them.
Said no one ever.
Said no one ever. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to cover is, next week, we are going to start, reading MREA. And, I don't know what the pages are. Gotta get my book.
Go
Had it
get your book.
I had it written down.
Get the book. Get the book. Get the book. Armageddon, by the way.
You guys all have the book?
Got it.
I got it.
Okay, so we're gonna start with the fundamentals. Really, the book doesn't really start until you're at page 21. So we're gonna read page 21 to. Is that what that is? It goes, yeah, 21 to 46.
Y'all know it's on page 41 at the top.
41.
You even underlined it.
No, I did, remember you make fun of me because I
Because you
did
didn't
not,
underline
I
it.
did not underline it. I can now.
Is that until you have enough leads to, or no?
Yep,
To meet
keep
or
going.
exceed your income goals.
There
sim-
is
Don't
no
have a problem.
other issue.
There's just nothing. That's it. That's where it starts. Leads, listings, leverage.
Right. So we are going to be going through that. So have that read. We are going to be, right now, we're going to be going through a short script. We're going to do that earlier when we were on. And then we're going to talk about our goals. So the goal, well, I'll do it backwards. The goal for this next week is for you guys to get a set number of appointments with a practice buyer consultation. Okay, so I'm going to, do you want to be the agent or do you want to be the person at the house? Or the friend, practice buyer consultation
Where I'm doing the buyer consultation or I'm setting up appointment.
appointment.
I will absolutely call you and set up an appointment.
Okay. You gotta make the phone ring.
I gotta make the phone ring, ring a ding, ding.
Hello,
Hey Jess, how's it going?
good.
Good. Hey, I'm sure you've seen on Facebook because I've been inundating the thing that I recently started as real estate agent. You're familiar with it, right?
Oh, yes, I know you were an agent. You're telling everybody all the
And
time.
it never stops. It's really annoying, I know. But I was wondering if you might be able to do me a favor. And in exchange for that simple favor, I might buy you a cup of coffee.
Oh, I love coffee.
Well, good. That was kind of my plan. I didn't choose like a old fashioned. I knew you wouldn't like that.
Right.
But anyway, my point, to make it quick, and I know you got other things to do, is to get out there. And what I'm trying to do is learn a new, what they call a script for presenting an opportunity to buy a house. So when somebody wants to buy a house, I would come over there and I'd talk to them. Do you have some time that I could sit down and practice that with you?
Oh,
And we'll just go out for coffee. We'll do it at a coffee shop.
okay.
And then you do that and you say, Arvidsson, you were not yourself in this at all. And I feel terrible about that. but I'm really interested in your feedback so that I can get better at doing this. Would you mind doing that with me?
Yeah, I can do that.
When day would be best for you? Would it be Tuesday at 1 or Wednesday at 9:30?
Wednesday at 9:30.
Bam, see you then.
Okay.
Caribou, all about the boo, none of the
Okay,
bucks.
boo. All right, so that's pretty much all you gotta do. I mean, and if you don't want to sound as weird as Jason, then you just be yourself, right?
Or if you're as weird as Jason, sound that weird, because then you're being yourself, right?
These
And if-
people aren't gonna say, they're not gonna say no, like,
or they will. They'll just say, I can't make it those times.
right,
Cool.
right. But they're not gonna be like, no, you suck. I'm not doing this with you.
Right,
I mean, they might,
absolutely not.
but they might. I mean, they might.
Anything is
Okay,
possible.
But
I
they're not
see.
going
So
to.
you want to have like buyer consult in your calendar, say from 5 to 6. And then you just want to fill it with someone.
Boom.
All right, we're cooking with gas here.
Now, depending on where you're at, right? I mean, there's a lot of ways to look at different things, right? But what's my goal? If I can do this at a time that works for me, I win every time, right? And if somebody will agree to work with me at the time I want to work with, I win. As I'm getting towards the end of the week and my goal is to get one and I haven't gotten it, I might need to open up my calendar a little bit more. Because in the end, I want to achieve my goal more than I want to, depending on the
Right.
situation, right?
Right.
But be flexible. If you were to come back, Jess, and say, I can't make either of those times, I might have said, what time can you make Thursday morning? So I'm opening it up a little bit on a different day, but I know what my calendar looks like too. And I have the ability to say, that doesn't work with my calendar. Can we move it to next week? At the end of the day, I want to get the appointment first, time second. But people, when you offer an open-ended calendar to people, I promise you, you are inviting a shit show. Because,
Midnight.
well, how about this time at this time? And that'll be the singular time you have something planned. I don't know why. It is guaranteed. If you make your calendar available to every human in a 200-person office, the one time you will work every week is from 12 to 1. I promise you. So make sure you pencil in lunch for yourself because you'll never eat otherwise.
Right, I said that. You can put lunch in there.
I do not put lunch in there, and I promise you 12 to 1 is always filled. Always,
Always.
always filled.
Um,
I'm gonna get my lunch.
I was gonna say something else now, just escaped.
So you're gonna say that people, how are they doing? How many are they planning to get?
Yes, what is your goal? So I want you to think about, you looked at, you time blocked your schedule out, right? You know when you're available. How many, and I remember, it
How
came
many
back.
appointments?
How many appointments? The other thing is when you're calling, if you tend to book it towards the beginning of the week, if it ends up canceling, or they need to reschedule, you can still get it done next week. Not like, oh, I scheduled everything on Friday and suddenly no one's available. Okay, well, that probably wasn't a good idea. So schedule it towards the beginning and, and obviously you're not going to have them all scheduled, this week for next week, but on Monday, start setting it and see if they can meet later in the day or maybe on Tuesday, right? So, all right, let's go around and you guys give me your numbers. Let's start with Jenny.
I've done 8 practice buyers so far, so I want to get the last 2 done.
Nice.
So then do we have to schedule one with you guys too then, after that you said?
Yep,
Number 10,
number 10.
Oh, number 10? Okay.
and it can be with me or her or Melissa.
Yep. Okay, so yeah, so then schedule your 10th one with us next week. One of
Okay,
us.
perfect.
Okay, so I'm gonna say 2.
And if you pick noon on my calendar, better bring something to eat.
All right.
But apparently I'm in a weight loss contest now, so better be healthy.
Apparently, you signed yourself up for that, buddy. Gunnar.
These are our practice buyer consultations, right?
Yep.
Okay. So I had 7 of them. I had 7 of them done, and when the last time we met, I had 3 of them planned, and of course it just they flaked on me kind of last minute.
Lakey,
So I will,
seven done though.
yeah,
That's awesome.
either I will, either I'll follow up with them or find someone else, but I will get 2 done before, or before next Thursday.
Okay,
Is it before next Thursday is our deadline?
yes,
Well, how many are gonna have by then? Yes.
Oh, I'll get 3 more by Thursday.
okay. Wait,
And are those 2? So do you want 10 including 2, like,
the 10th would be with either me, Jason, or Melissa.
okay.
So you
So,
technically have
depending on
two.
you guys' schedules, I'll have
Yeah.
2. Depending on you guys' schedules, I'll have 2, yeah.
Yep. So then what you want to
Okay.
do is both you and Jenny want to reach out probably,
Yep,
today or tomorrow to whoever you want.
yep.
Okay. All right.
Okay,
Nice.
thank you.
Thomas.
I've done 6 so far, but 2 of them have been with the same person, so I should try to get at least a solid 2 or 3 before next Thursday.
Okay. Is it 2 or is it 3?
Let's go 3.
Okay.
So it'll be 2.
Smart ass. Okay. All right, Eli.
I'm slacking. I did 2, one with my girlfriend and one with my mother.
Okay.
And so,
Which one was better?
I mean, they're both the same.
That was a long pause. I'm gonna need some wait time here. Okay.
But yeah, even with them, I was stumbling on words and
You'll stumble with words on them more than you will with a regular person, honestly.
yeah, probably.
That's what I found too. It's easier
Uh-huh.
with other people further away from you.
Right.
Yeah, so I don't know, it was pretty rough and I obviously need to practice way more. So
How many? 2, 4?
by next Thursday.
Yeah.
Let's get 4 done by next Thursday.
I like
Okay. All right, we lost Andrea. So
Hello.
we didn't lose her, but
Should step away.
she's not here. All right, Eric, what do you think?
I don't even know what I'm supposed to say yet.
Great. So
Him,
what would you,
Does that mean you got-
with your schedule, what would you say is like a doable thing? So like we didn't touch base with like your lead gen and all that kind of stuff. So what are you comfortable getting done in the next week to move your business forward?
as far as lead gen or as far as the
Anything,
script?
like anything, because you're brand new.
My plan is to do some more reading.
Okay.
I've read through MRE once, so I was gonna start with Shift and keep up with the MRE assignments to read again.
Okay.
And work on my database some more. And I would say figure out what I'm supposed to say for the pitch that you guys are talking about so that I can start thinking about that. So I don't know if
Yeah.
we talked about that.
Yeah, so basically it's anybody who, I mean, the ideal person would be somebody who's renting that you know, right? And if it doesn't have to be somebody who's renting, then because obviously they would probably be the most logical person that would buy a house, right?
Yeah.
Then maybe it's somebody who's in a house at one time and they may be able to go somewhere else, right? And the theory is that they know, like, and trust you and that they're gonna want to help you.
Mhm.
So.
Hey,
you-
real quick,
Yeah, go ahead.
I hate to interrupt. Andrea is locked out. I don't know if somebody can let her in.
Oh, shoot. How did you know?
Because she said.
She called me.
Oh my God. Isn't that her phone?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. She called me. It came up from it said Andrea Chris, so I answered anyways. Yeah, she's locked out.
Oh my God, thank God you said something.
Yeah.
Because-
Okay. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're okay.
Oh, I got the text 5 minutes ago.
Did I?
So I get the
Yep.
who do I talk to part, but where do I get the actual script? Do we have a canned script that we then modify for
Um,
ourselves, or you just come up with something? on your
You
own, or-
basically, we're just coming up with something.
Okay,
So, you know, the one that I was using was, hey, I'm new to real estate and I was wondering if you could help me. I need to practice my buyer consultation.
so I think the buyer consultation part is what I'm asking. now.
Sure. So that, yes, you will have a canned like document that is called the buyer presentation.
Okay.
That's in Command in Designs.
Okay.
And then the second part of that is you will have you'll finish the templates in the MLS. And then that will get you your buyer paperwork.
Okay.
So, and I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh, like there, she's like, Andrea called, and I'm like, she texted me, but your phone's right there.
I know, my thing got it for my watch.
Oh, thank God, right?
Well, I swore, like, and I even looked at the door code before I left, just to make sure I remembered it, and
01117.
yeah, I thought it was 01116, but then I thought I tried 01117. I don't know. I
Oh,
guess,
dang.
well,
That's the worst
whatever.
feeling. Oh, thank God you had to watch.
I'm sorry if you're missing out.
That's
So
okay.
for some of those steps, is that something that I should sit down with? you
So-
on Wednesday and go over that?
So Irene will be sending you an email that will have the template information in it. There's a video that you'll watch.
Okay.
And then it will, you just watch it and you do all the templates. That's gonna get you templates for listing, buyers, and a PA.
Okay.
And then once you have that all put together, then you can go in designs and get your buyer packet.
All the time.
And the other thing too is that like anybody in class here, Jason or I, can look over what you have and, you know, say, you know, that's it, right? This is really all that you're gonna need right here, these 4 documents, 1,
Okay.
2, 3, 4. So those are the 4 that you're gonna work on in the template.
Okay.
And Irene's really good with it too. So if you have any specific questions on like, where do I find this? You email me, she can answer you back too.
Okay.
How long would you say it took you guys to get ready for, like, if you were gonna do a practice buyer consultation? Like to get all those things, would you say maybe like,
It took Eli 6 months.
Yep. 6 months
No,
and a
4
couple
months.
days.
4 months.
you guys, that is not helpful.
Oh,
Maybe a couple weeks, right?
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't say like, you're gonna
No.
be like next week, be like, yeah, I got it, I'm done, right? It'll take a couple of weeks to get it all
to see the buyer, just the general generic buyer packet
in the designs one.
that I read.
I don't know if she's putting that in the Google folder anymore, or not anymore, but if she's still putting it in there. If not, we can tell her, because this is the notes I sent her right here.
So that sounds like that should be my primary goal, is to start working on that.
And
Yep.
the one thing that's like helped me a ton with forms and everything is the buyer
Boot camps.
boot camps and seller boot camps. I'll watch
Mhm.
YouTube. They have them in the PC bookmarks.
Okay.
I rewatched it over and over again. So I did.
So that's at that KWPR dashboard.
Just one dash.
There's 2 dashes, but
There's-
only 1 actual dash.
Are those in our drive, our Google Drive, the buyer and seller boot camp, like, or did you just find that on YouTube?
They're on the YouTube if you go to the Keller Williams KWPR dashboard.com. There are numerous links in there, and some among the quick links are the YouTube links. And one of them is, I think, buyer and seller forms, not on the page right now.
You said that is,
KWPR dash with a little minus, and then the word dashboard.com. No,
Isn't
you
it
have to go to
just a very-
KWPR dashboard.
Right here.
No,
No,
okay,
I put it in,
yes. PR,
dot.
no. PR dash. That's a slash. Dashboard,
KWPR dash,
dashboard.com.
like
okay.
whenever you want to know anything, that is your website. Like that has Gunnar, you were asking about signs. There's sign companies in there for
If you go
getting your
down
open
to
house signs, like, that's got all the
Resources.
stuff.
Okay,
Recordings.
so that's KWPR/dashboard.com.
Yep.
And then this just breaks out.
Okay.
If you go.
Thank you.
That should work, because mine says invalid URL.
Which one?
On the,
When we went to the, oh,
Did you
yeah,
just
he's
click
in
on
there.
this?
Yeah, I just clicked on that. Blocked by some reason.
Is he, are you finding your KW.com profile?
I think I have it, let me check. Yeah, it says I am.
Because this one will take you right to the, this will be overall Zoom. This is just the video walkthrough for the buyers boot camps and selling.
And if she doesn't have them already, these two, this is the audits for a buyer and seller. I'm gonna have Irene add these to the Google folder. I laminated them. So you could check, you could like look at it, check it off for each transaction you have, but this is super helpful when you're looking at, when I'm doing my practice ones, what do I need to bring? This is what's super helpful. It's called the property sale transaction audit and property listing transaction audit. And it's what the broker, Melissa, will go through when she's checking all your documents. So like when people say, I need a checklist, that is your checklist. Okay, so let's see, I did not, because Andrea, you in the home. What is your goal for, well, how many practice buyer consults have you done? And what would your goal be for the next week? How many to get done?
If I'm being honest, I've done 0, but I'm just starting that video, like you said, helped me a lot. So
Okay.
I've been kind of practicing with myself.
Okay.
So my goal is by next Thursday.
Yep.
To do one with another person.
Okay.
So I'm being realistic.
Okay. And Blake made a video with Thomas and I, and Jason, can you remind me where it is?
We uploaded that video and I would guess.
It's in a,
that
it's in
it's
the
I have it on
YouTube.
my desktop.
Yes,
It's
it's in the YouTube.
Yeah, but
um,
is it in the PC group?
Yeah, I think it's in the PC YouTube group. And so you guys can watch that. It's, I think, 15 minutes long. And Blake used the paperwork that's in there and then had it pop up and then highlighted it. So it's super helpful as far as what to do and when. And
So in this
again,
case,
that's the way I do it. And people can do it differently, but that's
These
gonna
are the
get you all the
forms
forms that you
walkthroughs.
need. And what to say to people. Okay, so
and
that's
then
pretty
there's
much all I
all
got.
kinds
Does
of
anybody on Zoom, do you have any
individual
questions?
forms.
No questions.
Like if how do I fill out the
Hey.
addendum to do that? or
So,
contact the deed?
Who's coming on the 20th?
These are all down here. What does
Team
the next
meeting.
sheet
I'll
look
be
like?
Okay.
I'll be out of town, and I'm the one
So,
who'll probably,
This
I
is
asked Irene if it was
almost
on Zoom.
every form
Okay.
that you could ever encounter.
But
There's
she said
44
okay.
videos.
But
and
she sent me a
sometimes some
link.
of them are here twice, but
last one, so.
I'll be up there.
I'm jumping in here, yeah.
buyers
Yeah,
keep
now-
trying to-
now
I have a question for you,
Sure.
Jessica, Jason, and I have one question for Eric too, whenever you guys are available. whenever you have a
Yeah.
time. So,
Maybe in the.
I had a really good conversation today with one of my, he was like an older coach. He runs a business now and he's in the startup. He's been running it for about 12 years, but these last 7 have been really good to him in terms of just being able to see it through. So I guess the question I'd have for you and Jason is, how do you feel like you guys were able to kind of survive in this business through, because I feel like, especially being in Minnesota in the Midwest, things slow down in this industry a lot through like the winter times, like November to I don't know, like January, February maybe, where things kind of just, and it just, I feel like it doesn't matter if you're the greatest agent or whatever, but I feel like obviously people are just It's like, how, yeah, my question would just be like, how did you kind of set things up so that
Mhm.
you were able to still be in the industry and still survive, especially through those like down times where it's just not as much as moving?
Right. The biggest thing is that when you look at your business, like I remember one July, I had 8 closings and then I was like, oh yeah, and then December I had 0, right? So what you have to do is you have to take that money and set it aside. And then, in December, you're living off part of July's money because you're not going to have 8 closings in December, right? And that's the biggest thing that I did. And then that alleviated the stress from me as well, because I would still in December, I'd still be like, God, I don't have any closings. Like, oh, what do I
Yeah.
pipeline? Right. And it's like every time I would be concerned about it, literally the next day, I would either get a phone call of somebody who wanted to sell or buy, I would get a lead, I would get something. And I'm like, why am I worrying about this so much? Right. And so then if you have that cushion set up, then it isn't like that. Right. And then on those times that are a little bit slower, then you can focus on different things. You can be like, okay, well, I'm going to really knock my 36 touch out of the park and people are going to,
Yeah.
I'm going to set that up. Right. So because when it's
So-
busy, you can't do that. You don't have time to.
Yeah. So you didn't have, I mean, obviously you didn't have like those, in that time, you didn't have those, obviously you didn't put all 36 touches in that time, but it gave you time to like, okay, I have no clothing coming up, but okay, now I can set up a plan of when I'm going to touch each person on my
Yeah.
command 36 times.
Yep. It's like you're planning and organizing time, right? And your execution time. And then as you're doing that, you are still doing your lead gen every day. Because when you
Yeah.
do that, and that 36 touch, that's what's happening too, is that's lead gen on a consistent basis. And it's
Mhm.
passive. So it's just happening because and obviously like Andrea said, she's and Jenny, they've got their baseball cards, right? And that's a thing where,
Yeah.
okay, ordering them, it's not every month, it's once a year, right? But those
Yeah.
kind of things really help set you up so that people are consistently seeing you. And then because of that, they reach out to you.
Okay. Okay.
Roughly how much like that would cost?
That makes sense for sure. Thank you.
Hey, Gunnar?
Yep.
I want to tell you real quick what Gary Keller said, because Gary
Yeah.
Keller's question is perfect for this. What Gary Keller did is he said, I knew what my income goal was for the year, and I hit it after 11 months in my first year, and I just didn't work the 12th one. And my coach said, what do you mean you're not going to work this 12th month? How much further could you be? And he said, I already knew what I wanted to do and I did it. So I'm done.
So, but then with that though, what if you set an income goal and I mean, there's always gotta be that thought of like, there's always gonna be the thought of, what if I could have pushed further? What if I could have done a little more? Like what?
Right.
Like I feel like you're always gonna be battling that, are you not? Like, what if I would have just pushed a little further? What if I would have just did a little more lead gen, a little more, took one less day off, just a little more?
This is one of the most wonderful jobs in the world, that you can constantly move your goalposts further than you at any time. You can always decide to do more work. And nothing is ever going to stop you from that other than yourself, because you can always do more. And that's one of the reasons why when we talked about calendar blocking, are you blocking out that time for yourself first? Because to your point, if you are a successful person in this business long-term, you are going to ask those questions. Those are natural and reasonable questions to ask. The secondary question though you got to ask is, am I putting myself first or am I putting the business first? And there is no one that I have ever met in my life who said, I put the business first and I'm happy about it. You know, I mean, and the further they go in life, the more real that statement becomes. On the other hand, I've known plenty of people, Gonar, who said, I'm putting myself first, but the way I'm doing that is I'm going to work beyond what is expected. I'm going to outwork everyone I know for the first 20 years so that I can retire later or earlier than those around me. You know what I mean? So I can retire
Yeah.
soon. I'm going to work crazy so that I can get out of that. The only thing I can tell you about that strategy is you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You don't know how much time is given to you. So if you're not allowing time for yourself in the meantime and putting yourself first, then that can be really hard. I heard a great story about a couple who saved their entire lives so that they could retire and travel the world, so they could retire early. And 2 days after the wife retired, she died. And the husband spent the rest of his life unable to spend the money they saved because they had saved it together. And you don't know what's given to you. So
Yeah.
the finding the balance, when you find it, can you give me a call and let me know that you have discovered the magic formula for life? And while it sounds a little facetious, you're gonna have that balance question your whole life. And it's a hard one. And I don't think it's one you ever answer. But when you have to wake up in the morning and when you have to wake up in the morning to put food on your family's table, you act a lot differently than if the food's already there. And, you know, early in your career, the time to act aggressively is there, and it's going to pay off a lot longer for you than if you're trying to make it up at the back half of your life. So, you know, I wouldn't say trade all those days, but Gary Keller will tell you he never missed a play for his kids. He never missed, you know, a practice. He didn't miss things that he wanted to do. And as a result, he's never looked back on any of that stuff and said, I wish I could do something that I can't do. You can always make another call, but you can't always go back in time and attend that concert or see that friend one last time. Those things can't be replaced. But you could make another call tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a tough, you bring up one of the best and toughest questions that you're ever going to face. And it will always, the answer will always change. Every day you'll have a different answer to that question, and that's okay. That is perfectly okay. And it's good that you have it because, yeah, I mean, we want to be as successful as we can possibly be. And yet, if you train all day on the court and then you have a big game the next day, you're not ready. You're not prepared. You haven't rested. You know what I mean? There's a balance. And you got to find that balance.
The thing with that balance though is that you, and this is where I struggle with is that like it's, and this has even been with basketball is where it's like, so especially this was more definitely in high schools where like to get to where we wanted to go, it was obviously setting out a goal, but it was saying no to a lot of things. So like going into that goal of like what I wanted to accomplish in high school, like I accomplished it, but it was a lot of I didn't go into it thinking I'm trying to find the right balance. Like I pushed and worked to the point where it was probably unhealthy to a certain extent, but then I got to a point, and this is why like I appreciate that now, is because like I know how many hours a day or how many hours a week I could put out before I was like, okay, this is just too much, or this is starting to get unhealthy. But like with this, where I'm struggling now, and this might just be because I just started working, obviously just starting this different career and different life path, is that like I'm interested in seeing just, because this is different from being on the court, being in the weight room, nutrition, like it's different, but it is a lot of similarities. I would say it's very similar, but it's a few things are a little tweaked, a little different. So it's like, I
Here's
feel
what
like where I'm having that hardship of putting the two together is that the only way that I know really how to move forward and go is I have to go all in to see how many hours can I really work, how many efficient hours can I really work in a week or in a day, until, okay, I'm starting to compromise other things. And then it's like, when I was doing basketball, it's like, okay, I would find this is like every day I'm up working up before school, boom, go to school, after school. This is the program. This is like, my mind can comprehend this. Right now, it's like, I'm struggling to find. Some weeks I'm pushing a little too hard. Some weeks it's not enough. Some weeks it's just the back and forth. So I'm trying to find that between area where it's like, okay, I can conceivably and easily work this amount of hours, lead gen, everything, and then I have this amount of hours that this is just time to relax. But then every time that I even take a second off to relax, there's somebody else that's doing more, that's improving better at a higher rate. And that's with basketball, it was this competition of somebody's, if the time that you take to relax, somebody else is going to be getting better, somebody else is going to be doing more. There's going to be, your competition is going to be, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's
Take the one thing I'd like you to take from your basketball career that is directly translatable: discipline. The discipline of what you do, right? And that's the real key. You're not going to know that answer until you've done it for a while. And it took you your entire high school to figure out what that thing was, and probably into college to figure out where that limit was. And the cool thing was, as you were doing it, you didn't find the limit because you became more capable. So the limit was actually further away, right?
yeah.
So not only were you trying to find a limit, but the limit kept getting further because you kept getting better. And that's still going to be true now, but it's the discipline that you apply to it that you can translate directly. That I understand what this is, and I also do understand I need to take time for myself. And right now, the time you take for yourself might be small, and that's okay. But you never want to look at your calendar and say, I wish I'd have done something that I couldn't do later. You know what I mean? Like, to your point, if I want to take 100, if I want to practice my free throws today, or it's my girlfriend's birthday, her birthday's only going to come today, right? The 100 free throws could be done later. They could be done earlier. I could do them in a completely different way, but I'm never going to get that birthday back if I miss it.
Well, and that reminds me of, when Gary Kelly was talking, and there's just so many things that he said, that were so good. And I think the biggest one that stands out to me is the top 5 regrets of the dying. And one is let myself be happier, because it's
Hold on. Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
You said that's the top 5 regrets of the dying.
Yep.
Okay. And number 1 is,
Let myself be happier.
okay, let myself be happier.
Because it's a choice, right?
Mhm.
It's if this, then that. Like, happiness is a choice. Number 2, I wish I stayed in touch with my friends. Number 3, I wish I had the courage to express my feelings, open up and share them.
I wish I expressed.
I wish I
I'm gonna
had,
put
I wish I had the courage to express my feelings. Meaning open up and share them. Number 4, I wish I hadn't worked so hard. Too much time.
That's a debatable one.
Yeah, too much time making a living over building a life. And Gary asked his wife, he said, do you feel like there's a time where, like, I did that? Like that I worked too hard? And he said, no, Gary, you're either in the picture or you're taking it. Like, when you're there, you're 100% there.
And I think that's one of the biggest things that really solves the problem. Is it's when what you're doing bleeds into something else, that's a challenge. Be where your feet are.
Yeah.
Wherever that is, be there. And make decisions about where you want to be, but be where your feet are. Don't be somewhere else. If you're in the picture or take the picture, you know, don't be the guy, you know, at your kid's soccer practice who's on the phone pushing deals. Don't be the
Right.
guy in the airplane giving people 15 minutes to solve a problem or you're going to fire them. Don't be that guy.
That happened last
Everybody in the
night.
entire airplane is looking at you wondering what the f- is wrong with you. And the problem is you think you're the smart one. You're not. Everyone else
Right.
knows better.
Number 5, the last one, I wish I had the courage to live the life true to myself, not the life that others expected of me.
Yeah, I'm at home. Sorry, could you repeat
Yep,
that one more time?
I wish I had,
Live the life.
I wish I had the courage to live the life true to myself, not the life that others expected of me. And the biggest thing that he brought up over and over and over is that if you don't know who you are, how can you be there for others? And that businesses are about building lives. The success of business comes after that. You know, so yeah, and like Jason said, you know, Gary said balance is a lie. It's about how long you'll be out of balance.
Yes.
Right?
Always.
And so you're always out of balance. It's like, but how much am I out of balance and for how long? Like, I am out of balance, so I need to get back in and
And yeah. Like the thing that I feel like right now that I'm trying to figure out and in the process of it, like cause like in high school and even college, like my schedule was just so like, and this is, I don't know if you like, this will be basically it's like we would so for us to get to the level of success that we had and for our teams to achieve what we did, it was like it took a lot of long hours in terms of just like, especially when I was in high school, like the decision was made early, whereas like my Friday and Saturday nights just looked a lot different than most of my classmates, just because it was, I probably have to get up at 4:35 just to get to the gym
Yep.
before all the other teams got in there, get a workout in, and then have whatever training, have a little bit of time on the side, and then, but through that experience, it was that like we were able to through wins and through success, we were able to travel. We played AAU basketball. Like it took me throughout the country, throughout the USA. Then like we went even to a few countries out of the United States. But obviously the experiences were great, but it took a lot of work to get to that point, and just like trying to replicate what that is, because after like we at a certain point, like the success that we were achieving was no secret. It was just that like, and I would let other friends know that goes to other schools. It's like, yeah, we would practice at 6 a.m. I'd wake up every day before school to go work out, and it's like this is very repeatable, but it's just that like
Most people aren't gonna.
not a lot of people are willing to do it for the long term.
Yep.
And I had a friend, and the reason that I got into real estate, because I had a friend that told me like, yeah, I've worked with a lot of realtors and a lot of them either quit in the first year or definitely get out of the industry in the second year.
Yep.
So just trying to think about it long term, trying to, more than anything, it's about the process that you take. Like I know that like obviously basketball is more physical. It's about, you have to make shots and stuff. But like when I look at this and like just this isn't a few times why I love the team meetings every first and third of the month is that it's like, it's obviously working at the school. This is my first job, but it's like everybody at the school is just, they're coming in, they're clocking in, they're constantly complaining about this, that, or other thing. But like when I go up there to the team meetings, it's like everybody's up there is trying to solve a problem, trying to help somebody out, trying to move forward. And it's like, it's just such a more uplifting environment. And it's all of like what you're willing to do and what you're willing not. But
Right,
yeah,
right.
I will, yeah, I will.
That's
definitely
awesome. And,
talk
you know,
about-
and I think that's why a lot of this is coming up for you is because of the fact that that is who you were, you were
Yeah.
a basketball player. And now things are shifting and, you know, you have to figure out who you are, right? And what is important to you and what you want that to look like, right? Life after basketball, what's that going to look like,
Yeah.
right? Because you can take all that success and determination that you had and you 1,000,000% can apply it to real estate and knock it out of the park, right?
Yeah.
It's all on you and what you want to make happen. And, you know, that's exactly right. The hardest year is your first year. And that's why so many people get out of it because they don't stick with it and be like, actually, this is going to get easier, right? Like I'm actually going to get more business the next year because now more people know I'm in real estate, right? So it's just sticking with it. And then, like you said, like building a moat around yourself and being around successful people. And that's coming here to the office and to the team meetings and surrounding yourself with those people.
Yeah. No, okay. Yeah, that sounds good. I definitely got a decent amount of notes that I will go over here and probably process this stuff. And I'm not sure if I have any other questions for tonight. I'll probably ask something for our PC meeting at some point, but
Yeah,
no, it sounds good.
awesome. Thank you so much for joining, Gunnar, and all your questions too.
Yeah, no,
All
for
right,
sure.
you can
All
say
right.
goodbye to everybody else.
See ya.
All right. Thanks.
Gunnar.
All right. See you guys soon. Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See ya.